Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today we are responding to the first fat acceptance TikTok of the year. I also just have to say, I just filmed another video. I did read Lizzo's Substack, but it was a little too much. So that's going to be coming out for members tomorrow, even though I did originally plan for that to be for everybody. That will be my members video tomorrow. So anyways, let's get into this. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's kind of long, but I guess she's saying she wants to make fat phobia lame again. Okay, so I just want to see what she has to say. I thought it would be fun. Let's just go. She posted this on the 31st, so literally yesterday.
So I just want to say, because something just occurred to me. You know that phenomenon that happens, especially with young people nowadays, now the eating disorders are back in, where thin people will go online and they will basically bully a fat person for existing in public and then say that it's like their moral and ethical obligation to tell fat people that their health is going to suffer because they're fat or whatever. Or to suppose that like...
I just have to say, she sounds so smug, which it was funny when I had my little smug moment and then everyone got all extra about it. Look at the smug. She's so smug. Now that that's normal again. No, you were always in it. Whenever somebody says that, it's like kind of like it's almost like you just showed your hand to me that you have it because it's a projection. It's so dumb.
Every person in a bigger body is like making a choice to be in that body and is like promoting.
Yes, 100%.
A sort of unhealthy lifestyle by being in that body, which is just a ridiculous assumption to start with.
No, you're not necessarily promoting it unless if you are actually a fat acceptance person. You making this video, you are promoting it.
First of all, no fat person in the history of the world, well, okay, in the history of the modern world, especially in like the US now, not a single fat person in this context lives without the understanding that their health is going to suffer in some way because of being fat.
That's not true. There's a lot of people that are very delusional about it. And again, there's a difference between intellectually understanding something and emotionally understanding the reality of something, which people within the TR, they will say it, but there's such a compartmentalization and a dissociation from it. And they also disconnect from their body, so they don't care until they're at death's door. How do I know that? Because that's what I did. That's what happened to me. And other people do pass away. So no, people may know it cognitively, but they don't actually let it seep in or actually understand what it means for it to have those health risks until your health collapses. Then you wake up really fast or it's the end for you. And shame on anybody who wants to prevent people from getting in that state or at least wants to try to ring the alarms. I did one of my spiritual TikToks today. That's why I'm getting those notifications, which is fine. But I'm just saying that is not true. People ignore the health implications all the time. So they should always be brought up. And you should hear it every single second of every day. Every second of every single day you should hear it. Because it's important. And I understand that you don't care if you're in the problem. You don't care about it. But it doesn't matter. You're still going to have to hear about it. So I guess you're going to have to deal, won't you? That's basically what I have to say. You're going to have to deal with it.
I don't need to explain this all to you because nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to listen. But there are a multitude of reasons why a person is fat that has nothing to do with the choices that they're making or their morals.
That's not true. So you are making choices always. You're choosing to be big. So whether it's you're settling for it, whether it's you're being on purposely obtuse to the issue, which is what happens in the toxic ritualistic world. You have that going on where it's like, oh, I cannot pay attention to this, or oh, I can't see this, or whatever, because you're purposely blinding yourself to it so that you can continue doing what you know you shouldn't be doing. Or whether it's you have health conditions that you're completely neglecting, something like insulin resistance, diabetes, just totally ignoring it, not caring about it at all, that's a choice. If we're talking about we don't have access to healthcare or something like that, there are programs, there are ways that you could get access. How do I know? Because I've used it. So it does exist. I hear an American accent in you. I'm pretty sure you're in America. There are options if you're especially broke. So I'm just saying you have to utilize what you can and do the best you can with what you got. So get the support that you need. It does exist. If you don't want to take any support at all, then that's also a choice. But you need to figure it out then. Do it a different way. Find some other way then. Because you don't just sit on this forever. You have to deal with things like hypothyroidism, diabetes, PCOS. Like you have to actually deal with stuff like that. You can't use it as an excuse to stay huge forever. And again, there's a lot of money that goes into being that big. You're spending a lot of money on food that you could spend when it comes to healthcare, honestly, and it would be better spent. So that is a choice that you're making. That is a choice. Food doesn't come from the sky.
A lot of it comes down to stress and health and mental health. And so you're not going to help somebody by making them feel ashamed for existing in public.
That's true. You're not gonna help by making them feel shame for their appearance, but you can make them feel shame for their horrible decisions, both financial, both, in terms of neglecting the issue and for choosing to stay in the toxic ritualistic world, especially if it's called out and if they understand what they're doing. If they refuse to see it, in fact, you might have to shout them down to get them to actually listen. Like you might, because they won't listen. So to me, it's like, I don't see how coddling the issue of Hinge, E followed by letter D, is going to help it. You cannot affirm it. I've told you guys so many times on this channel, it is not something you can affirm. You can't. It's bullshit, period. It doesn't matter how they dress it up. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they cite as a reason. It doesn't matter because it's specifically geared to be impossible. I just can't lose weight. I can't downsize no matter what. Because the sun, the sky, the stars, everything is pushing me to be this size. It's my destiny. I mean, that is how these people talk about it. And that is absolute bullshit because I know it takes so much to maintain that size. Her size, it takes a lot. She's full of shit. I mean, we have to just point it out. We cannot sit here and coddle it. She's full of shit. Absolutely.
Second of all, I know that the reason why you're doing that is because you're in a position of power by being a thin person, and you understand that you're in a position of power by being a thin person, and you feel guilty about that.
According to what? According to the law? Show me the law that puts a thin person in power. According to what? Is there anything besides your E followed by the letter D that says that? Because reality doesn't show that at all. It's only in the TR world. It's only in that mental illness that that's the case. So maybe in your mind, a thin person has power over you, but that's not an objective truth. It's just not. That's delusional. It's not rooted in reality. Don't listen to people when they say that, please. It is bullshit.
On some level. And so you want to impose some sort of ethic.
Okay, so are you a mind reader? Again, I don't trust people that are super big within the TR. If you have issues seeing your own size in the mirror, which we talked about in my video yesterday, you probably have issues with empathy. There's probably a little bit of an overlap in the brain. Your brain is probably not working correctly. So I've said this in the past. I remember when I first started, I talked about how people who are huge and in the TR, they struggle with empathy, and all like so many fat activists freaked out when I said it, and you freaked out so much because it was true. That's why you freaked. You know, it's like, I don't trust your levels of empathy. I don't trust what you're saying because you're not in reality. You're just not. So I don't think you should necessarily trust these, honestly, delusions that are in your mind because you don't know. Most people don't give a fuck about what you're doing. And even people who do comment on it, they don't even care that much. It's more so just a, hey, this is an issue. Especially if they're saying they're doing it to help or whatever. Usually it's worded more nicely. If it's like, you're disgusting, you're this, you're that, that's different. That might be a toxic ritualistic issue, which maybe she's talking to them. You have power over me as a thin person within this toxic ritualistic role play situation that we're LARPing in, which again, we don't need to bend reality to your delusions, to anybody's delusions in the TR. Absolutely not. So it's like, no, you don't have any power over somebody because you're thin. A reductive person. And no, hinge person, you don't. Nobody has power over you because they're thin. That's bullshit. It's bullshit all the way around.
To your existence, you want to believe that you're doing something right and that you're a better person, that you're more morally good than a fat person for being in that body. And that's what you're imposing every time you go online and you just spew all of your disgusting hate to any fat person that just chooses to live in public. They won't be talking about their body. They won't be doing anything about their body. They'll just be...
Is that what you're doing right now? Because I feel like a lot of people that say that, they do talk about their body and they're actually fat activists and they don't like getting any pushback for their activism. Sorry, I don't feel sorry for you. I just don't. Because is that what this video is? Are you not talking about it? It's ridiculous. I would agree in theory that you shouldn't comment harsh things like that when somebody is just a fat person living their life, especially if they'll acknowledge that it's not good, because it isn't. But if that's the case, then yeah, that's a little too harsh, or I don't know how much that's helpful or whatever, because you're just a stranger online. But in terms of like, if they're lying, if they're saying medical misinformation, if they're talking about delusional stuff, like a thin person has power over them, you should comment and say, no, that's not true. And it's not always just about that person. It's about whoever's seeing the video too. You know, that's kind of a community duty in a sense for you to say something back when people are saying delusional stuff like this, because you don't want it to reinforce other people, or you don't want to confuse. It's really not, it will reinforce people with the issue regardless, but you don't want it to confuse people that are more normal. And that's the problem, is people are confused these days because people with these problems have made these issues so complex and so weird and confusing, even though it's literally just you're eating too much. That's all it is. That's the point. You're eating too much either because you have an E followed by the letter D, or you're eating too much because you have a physical condition that makes you hungrier than you should be. And that's all it really is. But you say, oh, it's because I have this trauma. No, it's because you have the toxic ritualistic. Has nothing. Trauma doesn't make you gain weight automatically. That's not real. It's because I'm stressed. No, it's not. It's because of what you're choosing to do about the trauma and the stress. That's why. So no. And that is a choice. Period. Even if it doesn't feel like it's a choice, it is a choice. How are you going to know that it's a choice? Because somebody like me is going to tell you it is. Because you're going to believe your own delusions when you have this problem. So you are delusional. You think you don't have a choice. You think it's the sun, the stars, the moon telling you that you have to be this size. It's not. It's your choices on a day-by-day basis, your obsessive thoughts that you tell yourself over and over again, the repeated mantras of obesity is genetic, obesity is genetic, obesity is genetic, obesity is genetic, I'll never be thin, I'll never be thin, I'll never be thin, I'll never be thin. I can't control myself around food. I can't control myself around food. I can't control myself around food. I don't like how I look in the mirror. I don't like how I look in the mirror. I don't like how I look. This is the things that you say over and over again. Like, really think about how often you think these things. And you'll see that it's happening over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. And it's like, yeah, that's not normal. It's not. That's a problem. That needs to stop. You need to stop. Just stop.
Happy living their life, and somebody will come to them.
It's how you can even make this video, because you've been gaslighting yourself on a daily basis into thinking that these are normal thoughts. They're not. They're not normal thoughts. They're really bizarre. It's super bizarre. It's something that you've clearly said to yourself in isolation 20 bajillion times that you think it sounds realistic to other people. It's not. You do not sound like you are living in reality. You don't.
And tell them that they're disgusting and that they should change and that they're promoting obesity. Just putting the blame on the victim for this country that we live in that gives us shit food, that pays us no money.
Look at how many excuses. If you don't have money, then you don't have money for the food. You're a liar. Liar. You guys need to please do not believe any of this stuff. Constant lies. Constant. It's the government. It's the money. It's this. It's the trauma. It's all that. It's bullshit is what it is. It's a choice. You're choosing it. You're choosing it. Every single fucking day, you are choosing it. That's what it is. It's a choice. And you can't even be honest about it. And I will make no bones about shaming somebody for lies, especially if you are spreading it to everybody else and reinforcing other people. Then no, I will absolutely shame you for lying.
Money that gives us no tools, no time to be able to make better food, to be able to, practice.
Bullshit. It's always cheaper to cook for yourself. You're full of shit. Crap. Next excuse.
Healthy lifestyles where we get enough exercise because we're working 12 hours a day.
People work a lot. And when people work a lot, they tend to burn more calories. So no, you're wrong. You must be eating more to compensate. Because I can assure you, not having any money and working 12-hour days, that's not going to do anything but probably help you downsize. If you want to really be real about it, if you're actually impoverished, you're not going to be able to be that big. It's a privilege to be that big. It takes a lot of money. So I don't feel any kind of way if you're working 12 hours so you can hinge. Well, you're the one shooting yourself in the foot, silly. It is a terrible decision financially to hinge. Absolutely. And I'm just pointing it out. I might have a bitchy attitude about it, but honey, if you're going to spread a bunch of lies, I'm not going to always be a sweet angel with this type of thing. Because again, it needs to not be affirmed. I'm not affirming you. I'm absolutely not. You are full of shit. That's what I'm telling you. You're full of shit.
Why put that back on the person? Why is this the
Because you're choosing it. You're still choosing it. I just told you.
Norm of the U.S. that what we want to do is we want to victim blame at every step of the way.
You're not a victim for being big. You made yourself big. You might be a victim for a legitimate trauma that has happened, but that trauma transmuting into certain behaviors, that's a choice. It is a choice. It might be a dumb choice. It might be a choice you made while you were really young, but it's a choice to stay in it. Absolutely. Especially when you're older, it is such a choice. And it can be tough. It can be hard to get out, but you're choosing not to because you don't want to do the hard thing. You don't want to get out of it. So you'll just keep making these excuses, and you're the one victimizing yourself. You're traumatizing yourself with what you're doing. You do it on a daily basis. You know how hard it is on your brain to do these cycles and stuff? It's awful. And so it's not victim blaming if the problem is if you're doing it to yourself, then that is just the reality of it. Again, you can't choose what happened to you if something horrible happened, but how you deal with it, that's your choice. And this is not the way. It's not. Absolutely not.
And tell people that they just need to be doing something different to not be suffering. If we all had limitless money right now, we'd all be on weight loss drugs. And
no, you would be eating if you had limitless money. Because again, you probably have enough. If you probably have an excess in income if you are this big. And if you're not, if you don't, well, then the problem's going to solve itself. Because you can't be as big as you are and not have extra money. I've been very poor, and guess what? I was downsizing when I was poor. Because it was cheaper. Certainly cheaper from supermorbid obesity. Oh my gosh. To maintain at my highest, I had to eat around 5,500 calories. To maintain today, it's 2,800, 2,845. That's a huge difference in money. And when I was downsizing, it was, at my lowest, it was 1920. It's a lot less money, except that was kind of diet culture because I wanted some life for me. So I would spend more, but I had it, so whatever. If I didn't have the money and I was still downsizing, then I would have just had to deal with it. I would have just had nothing, basically. No, I'm just kidding. I would have had nothing in terms of enjoyment in food. It would have just been like cottage cheese and eggs and rice, and that's all it would have been, basically, something like that. But that would have been if I didn't have any money, But I did have a little tiny bit, so I was like, I'm gonna get my freaking fat-free whipped cream and shit like that. So that's why it costs a little bit more towards the end. But no, it was, even with it costing more towards the end, it still was so much cheaper than when I was at my biggest. So it doesn't work, honey. Money isn't an excuse. It's just not. It's not.
Because of it, maybe, if we're not losing our hair or if there's not some other health consequence that we haven't figured out yet. But people don't have that option. The number one thing that correlates with obesity in this country is poverty.
That's not true. It's because you got the chicken before the egg. You got it wrong. Obesity causes poverty. It's not the other way around. I hope that helps. There's a reason you feel like you're broke. It's because all your extra money is going towards food. That's why. I was broke as fuck, and I was still able to thrift a whole new wardrobe because I wasn't hinging. I was able to continue this activism, being broke as shit. I was able to do a lot of stuff with a little tiny bit because I wasn't hinging. You'll be amazed at what you can do. I was even able to get my teeth deep cleaned. I was able to get new glasses and stuff. I could have never done that. And I wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination. But it's because I wasn't hinging. And I wasn't impoverished. But most people are not impoverished, legitimately impoverished. Which again, I've had moments like that. 2023 comes to mind. 2024, I was basically at the poverty line. Well, I was in 23 as well, but my expenses went up. That was hard. 2024, I made a little tiny bit more money, but I had to use everything towards my car. So it's like it didn't even matter. So, and guess what? I lost weight during those years. I wouldn't have been able to make ends meet if I hadn't been doing the deficit in 2023. I wouldn't have been able to get my car fixed in 2024 if I was overeating or if I wasn't in a deficit. So I know from real life, practical experience, it can be, when you are big, those calories that are on your body, they costed money. And you can get that money back out through downsizing, which I know is a weird way to think about it, but it's true because that's how I survived. You know, this year, like I said, I wasn't impoverished. I'm not rich. I'm still pretty broke, to be honest, but I'm, you know, it'd be like upper, lower class, lower middle, probably more still lower, honestly, but within a hair's breadth, especially for the area I live in. But it's better. I'll put it to you that way. It is better because I was able to thrift and stuff. I'm able to, but again, if I was doing that, I wouldn't have been able to get my teeth done. I wouldn't have been able to get glasses. I wouldn't have been able to do certain things if I was overeating. So it's like, no. You're not getting it right. You're viewing it the wrong way. You got to swapped. Because you'd be amazed. If you would actually just downsize, you'd be amazed at how much money you would save. Especially at being that size. Absolutely.
Why do we still have this issue that we have where we want to suppose that somebody is morally bad because they're obese? Is it because that means that they're more likely to be poor? Do we think that everybody who's poor is bad and that everybody...
No, I think it's just that people want to point out that it's a big health issue. And while you might feel like you're okay, it can just collapse all of a sudden. That's why I talk about it. And I'd rather you just say, I'm choosing to be this way, period. Then at least I'd be like, well, I mean, they're not lying to anybody. So I'd be like, I don't think you should. And I try to tell you the reasons why you shouldn't. But we're not even there. The goalpost is off in outer space somewhere because you're just full of lies. So that's a huge thing too. When people hear lies, it pisses them off. It's irritating. So that's why I'm responding this way to you.
Who's wealthy is good. I know the answer to that. I know how this country functions. It's fucked up. That's how it functions. So.
Okay, and regardless, it has nothing to do with your weight. And that's all your choices and your behavior. Okay? So with that, we're going to go ahead and go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be back for everybody else Sunday. So I just, I did film the other one for members today. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.